The COVID-19 pandemic playing a huge role in the opioid epidemic. I'm Chris Warner. We'll take a look at the numbers and what resources are available for those struggling with addiction.
Plus, Kansas lawmakers are considering two proposals that would make it harder for police to seize and keep cash and property from people suspected in crimes.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Strong to severe storms are ushering in a colder week. This is KOAM News at 6. We go straight to meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick?
At least for the time being, Jordan, it was certainly windy out there today with quite a bit of cloud cover on the increase, but thankfully so far, nothing on the radar network right now. We've kept this view pretty quiet all day long, but if I take you down to the southwest, just into the panhandle of Texas and northwestern and north central Texas, especially around Wichita Falls, and upper level waves are already beginning to produce what's pretty much the beginnings of our eventual rain and thunderstorm chances. And as it interacts with a cold front coming in at the surface, that's going to really set us up for kind of a loud and rainy night at the very least. For now, though, it's still downright mild with most of us in the mid to upper 60s. This is pretty much where temperatures are going to stay as we go through the rest of the evening. But once we get past 10 or 11 o'clock, here come the thunderstorms from the south and west, and more will develop on top of the region as we go through the overnight. And definitely plan on these storms being around. They could pack a punch with the severe threat that will go into greater detail later on. Plus, Jordan, we've got another system once we finish this one, so we got a lot to cover in full weather. We'll do that coming up.
Yeah, Nick Kelly, all right, thank you so much. Pittsburgh Police Department arrests a man they say broke into the high school. Police say Saturday the suspect broke into the high school, used a fire hose to spray water in the gym, and stole property. Investigators say he was arrested shortly after the break-in was discovered with the stolen property in his possession. No official charges have been filed. In a statement, the superintendent said they are cooperating with the investigation and, quote, "We're thankful that student and staff remained unharmed during this incident and that learning and activities will continue as planned this week at Pittsburgh High School." The COVID-19 pandemic has turned many people's world upside down. While there is some semblance of returning to normal, there's still other stresses impacting people's lives. As a result, opioid overdoses are up nationwide. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with the Ozark Center on what's being seen locally and what options are available for those struggling with addiction.
93,000. That's the number of overdose deaths nationwide in 2020, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. It's the highest number of overdose deaths ever recorded in a 12-month period, a 30% increase from 2019. Nathan Honeycutt with the Ozark Center's New Directions facility says they've seen an increase in overdoses locally.
Anytime we're trying to deal with our emotions and dealing with the things that are happening, we're using substances in order to better to address that for a lot of those struggling with addictions.
Honeycutt says there are several options available to those suffering from addiction to opioids to get treatment.
So if they're a person that likes more of a group type setting, if a person likes more of an individual one-on-one type basis, a detox type program, a residential program, all of those services are all provided, and we are able to do that here at Ozark Center.
Another issue that's hit the Joplin area is fentanyl. Clinical Director Spencer Ellis says other drugs like cocaine and methamphetamines are being laced with fentanyl, making the situation more dangerous.
And so because of the uncertainty of what it is that they are going to receive, creates a lot of concern, a lot of fear. The fear of the unknown.
Ellis says the opioid epidemic is impacting more than just the user. It's impacting their families. So the Ozark Center provides overdose education on how to use Narcan. But with the fentanyl addition, there's a new issue.
Very unfortunately, one of the things we have found recently is that the use of the two-spray Narcan use may not be enough in and of itself to bump the fentanyl out of the opiate receptors. And so a lot of times it takes a double dose.
Ellis says even with that complication, getting help sooner rather than later is your best option. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The Ozark Center is hosting a free event for those impacted by a friend or family member's addiction this March. We have more information in this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. This week is National Eating Disorders Week, and to help raise awareness for the disorders, the Ozark Center gave us a look at just how they treat them. They use exposure therapy, which allows the patient to face their different fears and difficulties. They also use reconnect coaches, and they try a more personable approach with the patient that they hope makes them more open.
It kind of opens up more topics and more conversations that they wouldn't even think to tell their therapist or their dietitian or nurse or something, because they're just asking those like clinical questions. So it makes it more, I agree, I think it just makes it more personal.
You can find more information on our website. Again, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Kansas lawmakers are considering two proposals that would make it harder for police to seize and keep cash and property from people suspected in crimes. One bill would require law enforcement to get a criminal conviction before seizing assets. Currently, law enforcement can go to civil courts to get approval to take property officers believe is linked to a crime. Supporters of the process say it serves as a deterrent to crime and provides important funding for law enforcement. The latest Kansas Bureau of Investigation report on the practice said law enforcement agencies statewide claimed $2.1 million in cash and nearly $800,000 in other property in 2020 through the civil forfeiture process. A new report from the Department of Finance and Administration shows the medical marijuana sales have passed $20 million in Arkansas. According to the DFA, patients in Arkansas spent a little more than $20.5 million in January to obtain close to 4,000 pounds of marijuana. DFA officials noted that out of the 37 dispensaries in the state, the Natural Relief Dispensary in Sherwood had the largest month of sales with 387 pounds. The Relief Center in Bentonville followed with 333 pounds. As of January, officials with the DFA reported that the state surpassed $60 million in overall tax collection from the medical marijuana industry. Still ahead, medical industry professionals get a valuable lesson in heart health and how Missouri Southern and the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce are teaming up to make sure students are prepared for their foray into the working world.
Missouri.
People in the medical field learned some valuable lessons today at the 7th Annual Guardians of the Heart Conference. The conference is hosted at Downstream Casino and Resort in Quapaw, Oklahoma, focuses on several topics including cardiology, neurology, and trauma care.
Yeah, I mean, we provide a lot of educational opportunities here that, I don't know that you're going to go a lot of other places and get everything you can here in one place.
Conference runs through Wednesday. Missouri Southern and the Joplin Chamber are once again teaming up to make sure that graduating students are dressed to impress. Each year, the school provides through donations clothes for students to wear at job interviews. Things like suit jackets and slacks, and they're in need of donations.
These are garments that you would wear to a job that would be considered professional or professional casual. So we're not looking for jeans, we're not looking for t-shirts, but maybe for something that you would expect someone to wear in a job interview. Now, I know not everybody's going to wear a tie to work every day, but we're also expecting things that are professional dress clothes.
You can drop off donations at Missouri Southern or the Joplin Chamber. Later, Missouri Southern baseball facing Illinois Springfield as the Lions go for 4 straight wins. Jacob Leonard has highlights in sports.
But first, we're tracking rain and storms tonight and a potential winter storm by the middle of the week. We'll get to it all next. We've got plenty to talk about, from rain and storm chances tonight to another winter storm potentially still on the horizon. So let's just dive right in. First off, I know this is what a lot of people are talking about. The winter storm watch is already firing up in northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. That, of course, will be in effect until we get into Thursday evening. But we have a storm system before that one comes into the picture. In fact, it's clipping Berry County with the flood watch until noon tomorrow, because the first system on the way in wants to bring in a bit of a wet and loud night for many of you with rain and storms on the way. But we kept quiet throughout much of the day. Partly sunny skies to start the afternoon. Now we're seeing more mostly cloudy skies right now, but still nothing underneath the clouds. But let me take you outside. Jordan and I were just ogling over this. We did not have this view an hour ago, but it's nice to see the amazing colors as the sun continues to set. So we're looking good as the evening gets underway. 66 in Joplin with the south wind trying to gust near 35. And that humidity, it is climbing for sure. Right now it's 70%. Most of us are in the mid to upper 60s. A lot warmer than normal and compared to yesterday because of that good south wind that we had throughout the day at 15 to 25 and gusts at times pushing 30. But look to the northwest on the other side of the turnpike. That is where the north and westerly wind is kicking in. That's a cold front. That's going to really shake things up as we go into the overnight. But we're going to stay mild up until about the midnight hour. Then as we go through the overnight, rain and storms and that passing front will drop us back into from the 30s out west to about the mid 50s on the Missouri side. So again, nothing out there right now, but we've got the beginnings of our moisture pooling together out in northwestern Texas. On that will certainly come into play later on as the cold front starts to work on in and the upper low coming out of New Mexico. That's one system though. Then there's this guy in the Pacific Northwest. That's the one that'll give us a wintry mess to contend with Wednesday and Thursday. But for tonight, technically there is a low risk of severe weather from about Stockton Lake to about Sheldon, Pittsburgh, Altamont, Bartlesville, point south and east. But from 11 o'clock tonight until about 5 a.m. Tuesday morning, I think the better shot for any severe weather is going to be mainly along and south of I-44. But we'll watch for hail, wind, rain. Can't rule out a low tornado threat as these storms get going. So let's see how they'll unfold. They won't unfold for the next few hours, so we're good again to start the evening out. But after 9, 10, 11 o'clock, here come the storms from the south and west. Some of these could be strong to severe, but again, the bulk of the severe weather should stay just south and east of the region. Then, on the passing cold front, we'll get rid of our rain chances by Tuesday morning, but temperatures spend all day going in the wrong direction. You can see how we turn quite a bit colder throughout the course of the day. 55 in the morning, 43 by noon, and down to 40 as we thankfully turn a bit drier as we go into Tuesday. But here's Wednesday afternoon. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain chances begin to pick up. We'll continue with sleet and freezing rain going into Thursday morning, and then we'll have this end of snow. That's the next system we got to keep a close eye on. In terms of how much, we're thinking most of us 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, but south and east of I-44, that is potentially 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of ice. Then we got 1 to 2 inches of sleet and snow for most areas along and north of Interstate 44. So, boy, we have a lot on our plate, but we're taking these systems one at a time, keeping everybody informed of what's to come. But you can see, we see dropping temperatures and eventually 20s and 30s. Yeah. Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, the 70-some degrees was nice while it lasted, didn't it, Kelly?
Yeah, it was.
Speaking of snow, have you ever seen a cow operate a snow blower? Well, this is a sight many people woke up to in the Argentine neighborhood of Kansas City, Kansas. Manuel Palacio decided to help his neighbors out after the snowstorm by clearing out their sidewalks. And he did so wearing a Holstein cow costume. Palacio says he was so excited after getting a snowblower, he decided why not help out those neighbors. Palacio got the fun idea after seeing a TikTok video of a unicorn costume, but the price tag on the unicorn was too much, so he decided on the next best thing, a cow. And I agree, that was very neighborly of what he did, right? Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern men's basketball team begins the final week of the regular season at Missouri Western. Also, Pitt State baseball aiming to take a 3-game series from Wayne State. Jay Blenner has that and more next.
This week is the final week of the regular season for MIAA basketball. The Missouri Southern men hit the road tonight against Missouri Western in a makeup game from earlier this year. Now the Lions trying to snap a 3-game losing streak against Western in this one. The game has already started. The Lions are down 3 at halftime. Avery Taggart has 12 for Missouri Southern. We'll have highlights from the game right here tonight at 10. The Missouri Southern baseball team is finishing up the MIAA GLVC crossover today. The Lions have won their first 3 in the crossover after sweeping a doubleheader from Truman State on Sunday. Southern on the field against Illinois Springfield today, trying for their 4th straight win. In the 4th, violent swing here from Drew Davis. Up and out to left. First homer of the year for Davis. 5 in the inning gives Southern their first lead. The Prairie Stars tie it back up, then bottom of the 5th. Matt Miller gets the Lions back on top. Single here brings in Clay Milas. It's 7-6 Missouri Southern, but once again, tied up at 8 in the bottom of the 8th. 2 on, 2 outs for Ryan Doran. Big time clutch single up the middle scores Tragan Parker and Drew Davis. It's 10-8 Lions, and that's how it finished. Southern wins 10-8 on Ryan Doran's go-ahead single in the 8th.
I saw a fastball up and away, and I was coming out, it was a big spot, and I kind of knew that the pitcher wanted to get on top. So, I was able to stick with my approach and stick middle away.
I'm really proud of the way our guys competed. Clutch hit by Dorn, Miller also had a big hit, and then good pitching by Dunsing and Leif. And so proud of our guys, for sure.
To Pittsburgh, the Gorillas trying to take the series from Wayne State after splitting the first 2 games of the 3-game series. The Wildcats have bases loaded in the 1st. Look at this, Zach Curry steps off. Guy on 3rd takes off and steals home. Wayne State gets 2 in the top of the 1st. Gorillas, though, do damage in the second. 2 on for Ryan Koval. This thing rolls all the way to the wall, scores Garrett McGowan and Cruz Aranda. The game is tied. Then Mason Hartman shoots one down the line in right. That'll bring Koval home. Pitt State has its first lead, but they're not done there. Second and third for Caleb Carr. Fights it off into left. 2 more score. Look at this. Hartman crosses home. He's fired up. 5 in the second for the Gorillas. Pitt State takes the series, winning this one 9-5. Well, 2 of the best girls teams in Southwest Missouri meet tonight in Carl Junction. The Bulldogs welcome in the Nixa Eagles in a battle of 2 top 10 teams. And Nixa is currently ranked 4th in Class 6, while CJ is number 7 in Class 5. The Eagles are 20-4 overall. Bulldogs are 19-6. This one will tip off at about 7:30 in Carl Junction. We'll have the highlights right here tonight at 10. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news right after this.
We take time now to honor our local veteran, Staff Sergeant Herbert Dolan, served in the U.S. Air Force during the Korean War. He's from Gas, Kansas. We are proud to thank and salute Staff Sergeant Herbert Dolan, a 4-state hero. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. A new report finds millions of Americans couldn't pay their home energy bills almost every month last year. Also, a CDC report revealing a spike in eating disorders in teens, especially teen girls, during this pandemic. And authorities are actively monitoring plans for a large trucker convoy on its way to the nation's capital in this country. That and much more tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Carnival celebrations are back in the Crescent City. Mardi Gras revelers took to the streets over the weekend in New Orleans for the first time since 2020 after the pandemic put a damper on public celebrations last year. Plus, as one person takes flight, another found herself grounded at the gate. Mary Maloney has all that and more in today's Take a Look at This.
The floats, the costumes, the crowds, the fun and flair of Mardi Gras returning to New Orleans as the annual carnival celebration kicked off over the weekend. After COVID crushed the public festivities in 2021, revelers returning in droves to see the sights.
We are hardcore Mardi Gras.
And snag some beads.
Tomorrow I'm gonna get even more.
Signs life in the Big Easy is finally returning to normal.
There's no place like this city, New Orleans.
Another cause for celebration, a teenager surpassing expectations.
You think you're so exceptional. Well, let's see.
17-year-old Samantha Kaiser is on course to graduate from North Carolina State University this May, one of the youngest to do so in the school's history, overcoming obstacles along the way.
I lived in a hotel for a month off of ramen noodles.
To achieve her dreams of success.
You can conquer the world just as long as you have the imagination to go after it.
While one person takes flight, another finding herself grounded.
We need you to go to the terminal.
After being barred from boarding a flight due to alleged intoxication,
I can see it for hours and it's not even gonna treat me.
Chelsea Alston allegedly fled the scene, according to newly released body cam footage.
Oh man, that thing kind of goes fast.
On a motorized suitcase.
I have a bike pursuing a suitcase.
The officer says Alston spit at him, the confrontation ultimately resulting in her arrest. Her attorney declined to comment. She has pleaded not guilty to all charges. For Take a Look at This, I'm Mary Maloney.
I gotta get one of those, a rolling suitcase. Man, you get tired in the airport sometimes. Things are gonna get interesting here, aren't there?
That's putting it as an understatement, but fair enough to say. We're going to have rain and storms picking up overnight into tomorrow morning and dropping temperatures throughout the day. In fact, we'll be near 40 tomorrow afternoon. Then we've got a winter storm that we're tracking for Wednesday and Thursday. We'll touch base on all this again at 9 on Fox 14 and right here at 10, Jordan.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 10.
Salon service is provided by the